The transport shuttle touched down on Platform 7 of the Imperial Citadel with barely a whisper. Commander James Hartford stepped through the airlock, his boots clicking against polished obsidian floors that reflected the 3 moons hanging in the violet sky above. He had traveled 6 months through folded space to reach this moment, carrying humanity's first formal diplomatic credentials to the Velaryon Empire. The Empire ruled 47 star systems. Humanity controlled 1. A delegation of Velaryon officials waited at the end of the platform, their tall frames draped in flowing robes that shifted colors with their breathing. The lead diplomat, an elder named Koreth, bowed with precise formality. Commander Hartford, the Empress awaits your presentation in the Hall of Mirrors. Please follow. James fell into step beside his guide, flanking guards taking position behind them. The citadel stretched impossibly high above them, spires of crystal and metal reaching toward space itself. Everything about Velaryon architecture emphasized scale, designed to make visitors feel appropriately small. I trust your journey was comfortable, Koreth said, his voice carrying that musical quality all Velaryons possessed. As comfortable as 6 months in a tin can be, James replied, though your acceleration gates cut what would have been a 2-year trip down considerably. Humanity is grateful for the access. The Empress is generous with her friends. The unspoken words hung between them, and ruthless with her enemies. They passed through corridors lined with holographic displays showing the Empire's history. Conquest after conquest, species after species brought into the fold. Some joined willingly, seduced by Velaryon technology and protection. Others required more persuasive measures. The holograms did not shy away from showing both. James had studied every file humanity possessed on the Velaryons, a species that had achieved faster than light travel when humans were still figuring out bronze. They could have crushed Earth the moment humanity stumbled into their territory with the first experimental warp drive 3 years ago. Instead, the Empress had sent an invitation. That restraint terrified Earth's military command more than any threat could have. The Hall of Mirrors lived up to its name. Crystalline surfaces covered every wall, ceiling, and pillar, reflecting light in ways that defied normal physics. The effect created infinite depth, as though the room existed in all directions simultaneously. At the center, on a throne that seemed carved from a single massive diamond, sat Empress Nala. She appeared young, though James knew Velaryon lifespans stretched centuries. Her features held an otherworldly beauty common to her species, with luminescent skin that pulsed faintly with each heartbeat, and eyes that contained swirling nebulae instead of simple pupils. The crown upon her head floated 3 inches above her skull, rotating slowly and humming with contained energy. Commander James Hartford of Earth, Koreth announced. He carries credentials from the United Earth Council. James approached the appropriate distance and bowed as protocol demanded. Not too deep, showing weakness. Not too shallow, showing disrespect. He had practiced the angle precisely. Your Majesty, on behalf of humanity, I bring greetings and hope for continued friendship between our peoples. Empress Nala studied him with those impossible eyes. When she spoke, her voice resonated through the hall as though the mirrors themselves carried it. Commander, you are the first human to stand in this hall. Tell me, what do you think of my empire? The question carried weight. James chose his words carefully. I think it is vast and ancient. I think humanity has much to learn from those who have walked the stars longer than we have existed as a species. A diplomatic answer. The faintest smile crossed her features. But you did not answer what you think. You answered what you believe I wish to hear. Sweat prickled at the back of James's neck. Around him, the Velaryon courtiers watched with predatory interest. I think, he said slowly, that empires are built on power. And I think power respects only strength or utility. Humanity has little of the former, so we must demonstrate the latter. The Empress leaned forward slightly. Better. Honesty is rarer than you might expect in this hall. Most species grovel or bluster when they stand where you stand now. She gestured, and a section of the mirrored wall shifted, revealing a balcony overlooking the capital city. Walk with me, Commander. James followed her onto the balcony. The city stretched to the horizon, towers and structures that blended technology with organic growth. Millions of beings moved through the streets below, dozens of species coexisting under Valarian rule. 47 systems, the Empress said. 231 habitable worlds. 612 billion citizens. All united under one throne. She turned to face him. Do you know how such an empire endures, Commander? Military might? Any fool with weapons can conquer. True power lies in making others want to remain conquered. She walked along the balcony's edge. Each species in my empire retains its culture, its identity. They govern themselves in matters of local importance. But they follow imperial law, pay imperial taxes, and serve in imperial fleets when called upon. In return, they receive protection, technology, and access to markets spanning those 47 systems. A gentle hand, James observed, until it needs to be otherwise. Her tone remained pleasant, but something cold flickered in her nebula eyes. 300 years ago, the Korthan Confederacy rebelled. They felt they had grown strong enough to challenge my rule. It took 6 months to crush them completely. She gestured to a distant tower topped with dark crystal. That monument contains the crystallized atmosphere of their homeworld. A reminder. James felt his throat tighten. Entire worlds could be destroyed in the time it took to brew coffee. The Empress continued. But you already know this. Your intelligence services have briefed you thoroughly. I am certain. So let us dispense with the performance and speak plainly. She stopped, facing him directly. Why did Earth send you, Commander Hartford? To establish formal relations between our species. No. The single word cracked like a whip. Earth sent you because you are terrified. Because you know that if I wished, I could reduce your homeworld to radioactive dust before your fleet could even scramble. You are here to determine my intentions, and if possible, to negotiate for your survival. The bluntness stole James's breath. Around them, the wind picked up, carrying alien scents from the city below. Your Majesty, he managed. Humanity seeks only peaceful coexistence. Humanity is a child playing with fire, and I am deciding whether to let you burn yourselves or teach you to control the flame. She turned back to the vista. Your species achieved crude, faster-than-light travel through brute force and luck. You stumbled into my territory like an infant wandering onto a battlefield. By all rights, I should annex your system immediately, before you cause damage to yourselves or others. But you haven't. No, I have been watching. She paused. Your species is violent, fractious, and painfully short-lived. You war among yourselves over resources and ideologies. You poison your own world, even as you reach for the stars. By every metric, you should be conquered for your own good. James said nothing. What defense could he offer that she had not already considered? And yet, the Empress continued, in 3 short years, you have done something remarkable. You have begun to unite. Not perfectly, not completely, but the trend is clear. The discovery that you are not alone in the universe has given you common purpose. She looked at him again. Do you know how rare that is, Commander? Most species fragment when they meet the greater galaxy. They dissolve into factions, some seeking empire favor, others resisting, all at war with each other. But humanity, despite every disadvantage, is pulling together. Is that why you invited us here? To see if we would unify? Partially. She walked back toward the hall. I invited you because I wanted to see the human who would accept this mission. Who would travel on into the heart of an empire that could destroy his species on a whim? I wanted to measure your courage. They re-entered the Hall of Mirrors. The courtiers remained motionless, barely breathing. I have made my decision regarding humanity, the Empress announced, her voice carrying to every corner. Earth will be granted provisional protectorate status. You will have access to imperial trade routes and defensive pacts. In return, you will provide resources and technology, sharing on terms to be negotiated. Relief flooded through James, almost buckling his knees. But the Empress was not finished. However, there is one condition. Of course there was. Nothing came without cost. Name it, Your Majesty. The Empress descended from her throne, walking until she stood directly before him. At full height, she towered over his frame. My youngest daughter, Princess Lyra, has expressed interest in studying human culture and development. She will travel to Earth as an ambassador and observer. You will guarantee her safety and provide her full access to your world and its people. James's mind raced. A Valarian princess on Earth? The security concerns alone were staggering. And what would she report back to the Empress? Your Majesty, such an arrangement would require extensive preparation. You have 6 months, the same time it will take you to return home. She smiled, and there was genuine warmth in it. My daughter is not a spy, Commander. She is a scholar, genuinely fascinated by species in their formative stages. She will observe and learn, nothing more. And if we refuse, then humanity will navigate the galaxy alone, without imperial protection or access. You will face pirates, slavers, and hostile powers with only your primitive weapons and barely functional warp drives. The warmth vanished from her expression. I wonder how long you would last. It was not truly a choice, and they both knew it. Earth will welcome Princess Lyra, James said, forcing steadiness into his voice. Excellent. The Empress returned to her throne. You will meet her before you depart. I think you will find her quite unlike what you expect. She gestured, and Korith appeared at James's side. This audience is concluded. Rest, Commander. Tomorrow, we finalize the formal agreements. James bowed and turned to leave, but the Empress's voice stopped him. Commander Hartford. One final thing. He turned back. You asked earlier how empires endure. I will tell you the truth. Her eyes seemed to glow brighter. They endure by recognizing potential, by investing in species that might, given time and guidance, become true partners rather than subjects. I see that potential in humanity. She leaned back on her throne. Do not disappoint me. The weight of those words followed James through the Citadel corridors and into his quarters. He had come seeking survival. Instead, he had found something more dangerous. Opportunity, wrapped in expectation. That evening, a visitor arrived at his door. The princess was younger than he anticipated, her features softer than her mother's. Curiosity blazing in her nebula eyes, where the Empress held calculation. Commander Hartford, Princess Lyra said, bowing slightly. I wanted to meet the human who impressed my mother enough to earn a protectorate. That is no small feat, Your Highness. James returned the bow. I look forward to hosting you on Earth. As do I. Her smile was genuine, excited. There is so much I want to learn. Your music, your literature, the way you organize societies despite such short lifespans. She paused. My mother thinks humanity might be special. I want to discover if she is right. As James watched the princess leave, hope kindled in his chest. Not just for survival, but for something more. Perhaps, just perhaps, humanity had found not a conqueror, but a mentor. The stars had opened before humanity, vast and terrifying. But they were no longer alone in facing them.